This webinar is brought to you today by Greater Rochester SCORE. SCORE is a national organization of volunteers to help you run, start, and grow your business through free and confidential business mentoring. There's also a wealth of resources and skills training through webinars, workshops. If you would like to sign up for a free mentor, go to score.org. You can search by zip code for your local chapter and get connected to a mentor today. I thank you for joining us for our webinar on time management for entrepreneurs. I wanted to do a quick thank you to our interpreters today, Rachel and Jenna. They'll be voicing for our presenter. Our presenter today is a very busy mom of 3, and she is the CEO of her own company, Deaf OIC, and she's also the business director in our Infinite company. She relies on her time management skills on a daily basis. So we would like to welcome Rosemary Beyer. And here she is. Enjoy.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm excited to be here with all of you this morning. Today's topic is an important one for really everyone. If you are an employer, an employee, a parent, a spouse, really whatever roles you play, time management is key. Now, your schedule, your calendar can manage your life, or you can manage your schedule. Which would you prefer? Maybe you spent your life missing appointments or missing deadlines. You feel as though nothing is going your way. Communication isn't clear, maybe with your family, with your kids' practice, with who's cooking dinner tonight. You know what? You can resolve all of those issues with time management. It's 2021, and it's time for us to use technology and to leverage technology in our favor. Work smarter, not harder. Eliminate the stress in every way that you can. As mentioned, myself, I'm a busy mother of 3, all boys. They play basketball, they run track, they play baseball. My husband is a loan mortgage officer, and we are a busy family. Interest rates for houses right now are the lowest they've been in years. My husband is busier than ever. I'm the CEO of my own company, but guess what? My kids are really my boss. They run my life. Mom, you have to pick me up from school. Mom, you have to do this. For me, I feel like I'm a professional Uber driver. Then we get home and I help them with homework, while at the same time, I have client things that I need to be working on. I also have a team. I have my own agency and I mentor, I work with them to make sure that my team is as successful as possible, and I have to balance it all. Now, starting out, I had a pretty normal income, but I didn't want average results. I wanted a huge return on investment. I wanted a huge result. And in order to do that, I had to have the ability to scale. You have to have a scalable business. And I realized that it was time to really utilize time management. I had to automate my business to avoid miscommunication, and most importantly, to provide more peace for my family. I wanted them to understand what I was doing with my time. I wanted them to be more understanding and for them to be able to see my schedule, to see what I was doing and when they would be able to utilize my time. So my kids are able to see when mom is available. My spouse is able to see when I'm available for other things that we need to do. Now, my goal today is to help you all learn and understand a few things. First, I'll help you understand your weaknesses when it comes to time management. Second, I'll help you identify your strengths with time management. And third, I'll help you identify where your lack of time management is and how that does result in negative consequences. Fourth, I will share some technology that is helpful for all of you to automate your time and your schedule. I hope you're ready because we're going to jump right in. This is a pretty simple image, but the point is to let you know that there are two types of people. On the left, that person is perfect. They're an expert. The rope is wrapped around nicely. It's visually pleasing. And that individual really wants to have control over their organization and their time management. The person on the right is represented with a very messily tied rope. Both of them have boats. Neither of them are going to float away. They're both docked. They're both docked appropriately. But who do you think is going to have an easier time undocking to take off? The right side is a mess. They might need to ask for help when they need to undock. The left side just has to take the one end of the rope and it will very clearly and very easily untie. Where do you want your life to be? Where do you want your business to be? What kind of person do you identify yourself as and in the future? I'll give you a few seconds to read over this slide. Do any of these make you think of yourself? There's never enough time in the day to finish what I need to get done. I have so many things happening, I end up getting confused. I don't even know where to start. I wish I could go to the gym, but there's just no time. Maybe I just got caught up, but I realized I never actually finished before the deadline. Or I have a dream business I wish I could get started. It's a great idea. I know people need the idea, but I just don't have the time to do anything about it. If this sounds like you definitely need to improve your time management.
So I chose this image because I really love spirituality and this idea of yoga, being in touch. And yoga, I've been doing it for 28 years. And I could really just sit all day and, try to meditate for peace. But of course, I'm busy and I've got things to do. I have to work out. I have to go to the store and get my errands done. I do travel pretty frequently, whether it's picking up my kids or doing things for my business. I also have a partner, a husband that I have to invest time in, invest time into the relationship for sure to make sure it remains strong. So it's all about balance. And a lot of people say, oh, I feel out of balance, feel misaligned. And a lot of entrepreneurs say, I just can't seem to find the work-life balance, my family and my workload, how to balance those two things. One thing you have to understand is that balance is a myth, to be honest with you. When you're working, you don't have time to balance with your family at that time because you're focused on your business and tasks to do with business. But when you're at home cooking dinner, helping the kids, or spending time, good quality time with your spouse or your partner, you're focused on your family. And so you're naturally not focused or working on anything to do with your business, right? And so therein lies the myth of the balance. That's the very issue. When you work, it's important to focus on work. And when you're with your family, it's important to be intentional and be with your family. 100% without any distractions. There might be some temptations, perhaps, you have to submit some kind of business proposal, or you have a deadline that you're trying to meet. And when it comes to that, phone is not your friend. Technology is not always your friend in that area, because sometimes it's best to put do not disturb until you're fully done with everything that you need to be doing. Then you can give your phone some attention. But when you're at home with your family, again, it's important to be intentional and to make sure that your business partners and your clients are aware of when your working hours are, when you're available, and when you're not, because you're prioritizing family. So you might have an automatic reply that can respond directly to your clients or partners. And that's, something I have right now saying, I'm happy to meet with you again when I'm back in business. So if you'd like your clients to control your life, well, they definitely will if you let them. If you want to control your life and your business, you have to have clients that respect you and value your time. So it all starts with you valuing your time, and then they will. So what does that mean exactly? Time management and valuing your time. So really the best definition is what I have here. Time management is best defined as a systematic prioritization of tasks and competing demands to complete the most important tasks within a targeted time frame. So it doesn't mean putting things off or procrastinating or doing things when you feel like it, but rather following the urgency of completing it now, getting it done now. Go ahead and take a moment to read. So maybe you do feel like you have good time management. Perhaps you don't want to focus on developing time management skills. Maybe you think, I don't need it. Doesn't apply to me. But I think that you should check out the myths about time management if you might feel that way. The first, time management is nothing but common sense, this ideology. And I do well in school, business, or work, so I must be managing my time effectively. That's one myth. The second is, I don't need time management because I work better under pressure and I like that environment. I like the stress. Another being, it takes all the fun out of life. If I'm organized and well planned, there's no spontaneity or there's no last opportunity for last minute ideas to flourish. That ideology. And the fourth is no matter what I do, I just won't have the time. So time management skill building is definitely not something that happens overnight. If you read these, and maybe it's something you've said to yourself before, think about it. So, what do we really mean about time management? What's the truth we're trying to get at? The first being that you will definitely experience an increase in productivity, the amount that you're able to produce, getting the maximum results and maximizing your investments throughout the day. It immensely reduces stress, a lot of unnecessary stress due to poor time management. When you get something checked off on the to-do list, you feel so good and fulfilled, right? And feeling confident. And your self-esteem is increased because of your ability to complete these check marks. Perhaps you're spending some time with your family and you're worried about your deadline in the back of your mind. You will feel so much better, such complete peace if you manage your time well. Once you get done with work, it's time to focus on family. And if you complete all your tasks and you reduce your stress in this way, you don't have to be thinking about those deadlines or thinking about the things you didn't do, because your family can feel when you're not present with them 100%. You know, they might say things like, what are you doing? And what are you thinking about? You know, why are you still working? And that can cause some resentment to not only toward your work, but also within your family structure and against yourself as well. So if you can finish your work and get all of your tasks done early, you can play later. Work hard, play later. So if you're able to achieve that balance, feeling more balance in your life, whatever it means for you, that will lead to a lot more health in your life, overall emotional and social health, feeling good about yourself, feeling confident. And most importantly, if you don't procrastinate, you will reach your goals more quickly and effectively. So you will be able to achieve those goals if you get your tasks done on time. So if I were your business coach, I would do an analysis on your time management skills to look for some of these components. So go ahead and take a look at this rubric and grade yourself. Ask yourself, do I do these things? First, on a personal level, say maybe you're self-employed. Perhaps you do procrastinate a lot, even high priority tasks. Say you're chronically late to work, you just can't seem to show up on time. You've got this impending feeling of disappointment, not feeling good about yourself. And perhaps you're distracted when you're focusing on certain tasks. You're unable to give all of your time to one task and the one task at hand, and you're unable to complete it because of that. So that's on a personal level under that category. Now, on a company or employee level, some ways this might manifest are, for example, a lot of water cooler sessions, getting up and walking back and forth to the water cooler from your desk when we're in person, for example, or extended lunch breaks, taking longer than the allotted time. Perhaps, again, chronic lateness or excuses. Perhaps you're often sick, or, you know, it's time to submit a report and you missed the day, you didn't come into work, and so you missed the deadline. Oh, you're sick that day, perhaps. Maybe that chronically happens. And again, chronic, moving down to the next level, which is chronic multitasking. We can see over here in this area, again, the personal level, how it might manifest. So perhaps constantly switching from one task to another, but rarely finishing anything. Perhaps again, you're distracted, you're unable to, you're just constantly trying to juggle multiple tasks at once and not focusing. That will absolutely lead to burnout because you're not as organized with your tasks. Perhaps if you don't finish, you feel really disappointed, you have lack of confidence, you don't feel good about yourself in general because of what you're not getting done. Do you say yes to everything? Do you take on too many tasks and don't have the capability to say no? And that's perhaps why you're unable to finish the tasks that you take on. Do you have a long to-do list or a task list? It's absolutely hard to focus on those things when that's what you have. How this might manifest in work, perhaps you're looking at your employees. If you're the boss, for example, what is the capacity of your employees? And you pay for the internet, right? And so the increased computer bandwidth, for example, might you have to increase it? Might you have to pay more for that? That's something to look for. If you have a project idea or multiple project ideas, but you never start them, think about why not. Might be a lack of time management skills, this inability to start these projects. What does disorganization look like? We've got our two areas again, so over here on the personal level. Unkept desks, perhaps. I myself have OCD, so I'm very clean. Or very organized, excuse me, and I'm from the 80s. And so during that time, there wasn't really a label of ADD, OCD, etc. And so now that I'm an adult, I do still indeed have ADD, and that's an interpreter correction, excuse me. And just to let you know, my desk absolutely has to be utterly organized. Everything has a space. And I have to do it like a day before to get myself ready for the next day. Make sure I know all the clients I'm going to meet with on the following day. They're right at the top of my list on my whiteboard. All of my goals are listed for the day. I have one pen, well, really a pencil that I use. I have a water bottle, I have my coffee, I have my pen, and I have my notepad. And really, that's it. That's all I need. Keep my desk nice and organized, but I have what I need. So take a look at your desk. Do you have mounds of papers or piles of papers or unkept things on your desk? Perhaps you have lots of sticky notes displayed all over the place. Is that the most organized you can be? Check your email, clean out your inbox. If you don't have folders or colored tabs or things that are helping you stay organized, you might miss deadlines, for example. Or if you're looking for information, you need to find a certain piece of information and you can't find it. It costs you time and it costs you energy. So think about where you put things, intentionally place things. If you often forget, this might be a note to self that you have to find a place for everything.
Hey, Rosemary, we have a question. This person asked, one reason I take on too much is I'm very bad at estimating how long a task will actually take. How do I improve on that?
That's a really good question, and you beat me to it. Look where the next one's going to take us. Lack of delegation. So you take on a task and maybe you need help with that task. First, you need to identify how long you believe the task will take. You can then analyze it to see if it will really take that long. And if you notice that maybe you're off track and you're not following along with the timeline, then that would be a time that you might need to delegate and ask for help. And that will definitely help. Really, the number one, basically, death of a leader is because of lack of delegation. You need to know where and what to delegate. Maybe we need to improve our records. That right there can help us delegate. If you are able to say, I have documented these things and I need help with this one. Maybe you've experienced missing several deadlines. That right there can lead to people talking negatively about you and saying that you are not reliable. Often, everything here on this chart happens simultaneously. I hope that answered the question. So, now what? I have 5 tips. And these are tips that you can start doing today. Number 1, write clearly defined goals. Now, those goals have to have a task entailed. You need a detailed list of your task. If you have a big, far-fetched goal, you're going to be overwhelmed. You need to break it down. You need to break them down into mini goals or mini tasks. After you do those first 2 steps, you can prioritize your tasks. You have to figure out if the tasks match the business functions. List them out. List out your business functions. You already have your tasks listed out, and then you can figure out if they match or not and how you can line them up. I have an example to share with you. Suppose you're setting up a new business and you're going to sell toilet paper. So we know we're going to sell toilet paper, and it's going to be important for you to really do a market analysis, to contract with specific stores and vendors. That's going to be crucial because you're going to need to actually go to market with your product. Then you have to think about what's going to be the most important, the highest priority. Is it going to be to meet with vendors or to manage a social media page? 2 tasks, you have to prioritize them. Well, my priority is to make money. In order to make money, I'm going to need to meet with my vendors. My social media pages are more about my brand identity, which won't directly bring in revenue. So if my goal is to make money, which of those tasks is going to help me get there? It's going to be the vendors. And that's just one quick example where you can really focus on how to prioritize your tasks. Maybe you hate contacting people. You hate reaching out, doing that initial contact. You love doing the behind the scenes work, like managing the social media pages. Well, too bad. My best advice for you is do the things you hate first and leave the things you enjoy for after. Once you finish that task that you hate, you're going to feel empowered and you're going to be ready to increase your motivation and your speed to get the rest of the tasks completed.
Rosemary, we have a question.
Go ahead, Kristen.
Corey says, what kind of work tasks app are you using?
That's going to really depend on the function of your business. Now, for me, I run a finance company. My tasks as the business director and CEO are very different than my agents. If you are struggling to identify where the most important tasks lie, you need to think through your role. And I would encourage you to meet with a business mentor or a business coach, such as myself and other members at SCORE who are there, and we volunteer our time to help you with your business development. Maybe you can sit down and start from the end and work your way backwards. Figure out what success looks like for your business and for yourself. Where's your cash flow? What's missing? What do your sales and revenue look like? What does your team look like? The number of employees, the number of associates. And start with a vision. Start with a goal in mind. And then work backwards from that goal to come up with tangible tasks. And you'll clearly be able to identify the next best steps. Once you've identified the next best steps, now you can break them down into smaller written out goals. Again, those mini goals that I mentioned earlier. It is important that you're flexible as well. If one thing doesn't work, you don't want to harp on it. You can try to delegate to another person. You can try to leverage and ask for feedback. And that right there is one important thing that you can utilize a business mentor for. They can really help you broaden your scope and stretch your vision and help you look into other possible avenues to increase and lead to success. That was a great question. Are there any more questions?
Nope, that's it for right now.
Okay, great. Now, for the person who just asked that question, I think this next slide is really going to help you. Now, I have an agency, and some people have financial service experience. Some have none, and they're called newbies. Now, as a business mentor, we always start with talking about SMART goals, S-M-A-R-T. That is, of course, an acronym. And it doesn't necessarily mean intelligent, but it's how you need to write your goals. It's important that you follow along with this acronym. Many people say to me, Rosemary, I have a really powerful dream. I have a really powerful goal in mind. For example, Maybe I teach deaf people how money works. And some people say, I want to retire at 62. That's my goal. We have retirement specialists, and they help you plan your retirement. So that's a little bit about my background. If I have a client who says that they want to retire at 62, I would sit down with them and ask them how and how much money they want to have at retirement. How much money will they need annually? What sorts of bills will they still have? Will they have enough money on hand to be able to pay those bills and live comfortably? And that right there is important, is an important reason why, yes, you need goals, but your goals need to be specific, which is the S in SMART. Next, we have M, measurable. If someone says they want to lose 25 pounds, they plan to go to the gym for 3 months and they lose 10 pounds. Then 6 months comes and they've lost 5 more pounds for a total of 15. Now, the 1 year anniversary of going to the gym, they've only lost 17 pounds. Why is it that they never achieved that goal of 25? It's because there wasn't a date. There wasn't a deadline. They never said 25 pounds by a specific date. They just said, you know, I'm still losing weight. This is great, but it wasn't measurable. And essentially, that person would have lied to themselves because you end up giving yourself a pass to really take your sweet time. Maybe you have a business vision and you know that the community needs it. You know the community would improve, would do better if they had your idea, but it requires work and you already have a full-time job and you don't know how to manage this. Maybe you also have a family. So you go ahead and you set up your business and you work for a little bit, and after a year or so you fail and then you try to restart it. So you go along for a while and 5 years later, you still don't have a business in operation. And then maybe someone comes to visit you in a nursing home. You're 70, maybe 80 years old, and that person is going to ask you, do you have any regrets looking back on your life? Many people would say yes. Yes, I do. I didn't follow my dream. If you don't believe me, go to a nursing home. Ask people there. I volunteer often at nursing homes with my boys, and we always ask the people there, do you have any regrets? And seniors are often ready to give you words of wisdom and really help you out. What I hear is argue with your spouse less and go for your dream. Go for it. A, attainable. Do you already have what it takes? Do you have the resources to help you get there? Again, a business mentor can really help you set up attainable goals. Sometimes you have a pretty far-fetched goal and that will end up being frustrating. If you've gone back and set up these mini goals, It'll help you make that big vision come true.
Next, your goals need to be relevant. So for example, if you set a goal, it's important, to go, if we go back to the example of losing 25 pounds. So if I say I want to lose a total of 25 pounds. Now, if I want to go drink with my friends, is that relevant to my goal? Does that serve my goal? Perhaps not. So really, you have to make sure that your actions are in alignment with your desires and with your goals, what you're trying to attain again. The last part of this acronym, I always save the best for last, the most important one, which is T, time bound. This is so crucial. And honestly, it can either make you or break you with your goals in terms of being able to attain them or not. In my business, I sometimes have clients who say that they're ready to change their financial life, their financial well-being. They're fed up with being in debt and living paycheck to paycheck, looking at their retirement account in dismay, thinking they never will have the opportunity, thinking about debt or insurance increases, and things just, it never ends. And in the following year, when I revisit with them, it's the same situation. Next year I will, next year I will. But it's always the same story. And then in 2 years, I see them again, they're in the same situation or perhaps even worse off. COVID really exposed what people are doing with their finances and the hurt from procrastinating and from not getting those things in order. A lot of people lost their job during COVID, were laid off. And if they had an emergency fund, maybe they'd be all right. They could recover more easily. They can still pay their bills rather than, relying on a check coming from the government, right? So do it now. It's so imperative to establish a timeline for your goals and hold yourself accountable to that timeline. Entrepreneurial life, this is a must. It's an absolute have to. No one reminds you to get up in the morning. No one reminds you to donate or to do certain things or to give your time. It has to be you. It has to be you making a commitment to your dreams and to your goals. It takes away time from your family, from other people when you invest in yourself and in your goals. So you have to make sure you're committed to what you say you're going to do and to stick to the timeline. The number one question people ask me is, Rosemary, how do you do it? I have a busy family life with 3 kids and a husband. I'm a high earner, the top seller in my company. And I'm really not here to reduce my rank at work. That's not my goal. But I also don't want to be sort of like a half invested mom or wife, right? I want to give my all to both, and I want to give everything I can. So the number one thing is learning how to block off your time. Establish a certain time frame to focus on a specific task. So for example, if you have a deadline on a project go ahead and, make sure that your do not disturb is on, put to sleep all of your other, programs and etc. Don't multitask. Don't have too many tabs in the window. Be focusing on all these things at one time. Let go of your email, right? Put all those things aside that distract you throughout the day and focus on the area of commitment you've invested for yourself. Say, for example, you have 3 work days in one day. We've got the morning when we chunk the day up, right? We've got the morning, we can focus on certain tasks in the morning. Then in the middle of your day, around or after lunch, focus on something that, you already have that has a purpose, something you've already set for yourself for that day. And then later in your afternoon, if you're an entrepreneur, for example, night work is a must. You still work at night, just need that time. And if you value your family time, of course, specific times of the evening, don't work. Don't let business intrude with family. So make sure that you're keeping all of your blocks of time separate. But if you've been able to spend intentional time with your family and then you can go back to work, that's great. Take the time to do that if you're able. And the last block in your day can be spent for preparing for the next day and organizing your appointments and tasks for the next day. So basically, how are you going to close off the day and be ready for the next day ahead? Then when you wake up the next day, you feel good. You feel as though you're already a little accomplished because you're ready for the day. There's nothing to catch up on. You've already done that. You're good to go. Big stress reliever. Secondly, saying no is so important. I already mentioned it, right? We have to say no. Entrepreneurial life can be difficult. Sometimes we don't have a lot of time for socializing or interacting. When people set up a business, they lose friends because when you chase your dream, sometimes people find that they don't necessarily fit in your attempts to achieve your goals. And so people have to be patient, but you have to fight for your dreams and your family and make your life the way you want it. So people have to understand that. Please avoid something I call FOMO, which is fear of missing out. It's okay to say no. Facebook is not your friend if you're an entrepreneur. It can be very distracting and maybe you want to do other things, but you have to focus on the task at hand. Once you're done with work, it's important to reward yourself. Call your friends, catch up with them, tell them about your successes and what you've achieved for the day. Make intentional time for them. I'm sure that they'll be happy to hear about your successes and your journey and your struggles. And it's good for you, again, to reward yourself in whatever ways are meaningful. So this one's a little tricky for entrepreneurs in the beginning of their journey. So in the beginning, we do everything. We take on everything for our business, all of the tasks. It's really just part of the process. While you're developing yourself, it's important to identify areas of weakness. So for example, myself, I'm a very creative person. I have a lot of ideas, and my strength is in communicating. I am able to train people and teach individuals and duplicate systems, and I have successes in those areas. What I'm not good with, though, is numbers, running numbers for my business, for example, spreadsheets, PowerPoints, etc. All of those sort of like day-to-day little tasks, they're not my favorite. But I understand that they're a necessary part of this process in being an entrepreneur. So if I can't track my numbers in my financial business, what am I doing, right? Of course, I would not be successful. And so I learned it and I integrated it into my process, and I hated it all along the way, I'll be honest. PowerPoint, I'm a little bit better at. I've definitely become skilled at that, and I'm getting along. But this PowerPoint might look damn good, right? Because I didn't make it. I sent it to my amazing assistant, who's absolutely wonderful, with their skills in PowerPoint, and they're very creative. And I told them what I needed, and I told them my vision, and they did it right away. So while my assistant was developing the PowerPoint, I cash flowed 5 figures. My assistant was creating this PowerPoint. I am more than happy to pay her for her time, more than happy to pay her for what she does. My job is to work with clients and to facilitate with clients and work with deaf individuals and be a mentor. It's not to run reports or to submit applications or to create PowerPoints. And that job is for someone who earns more like an hourly rate. And so if you hate it, either do it first, right, and get it out of the way, move on to things you like, or delegate it to the appropriate people where you can. Maybe you look at your revenue and you realize that you're not able to afford it just yet. But maybe that's not true if you took a closer look at the numbers. And so you definitely have to have faith in yourself, and you have to know what you're working with. If I committed the time to make this PowerPoint, I would have lost money. My client was ready to meet with me now, and I have to take advantage of this present time because there's a deadline. And it wasn't my deadline, it was their deadline, my client's deadline. So I have to be there for them. I have to be there to support them. And they opened 4 accounts. I mean, they needed help. Can you imagine me expending time on this PowerPoint and what it takes away from the ability to work with my clients? So it's important to balance what you can do, what you can do, and what you can afford. And again, everything goes back to working with a business mentor who can help you to see reasonable goals that you can attain and what you can afford to get help and leverage other people's skills. Lastly, I have on here, take breaks. A lot of times entrepreneurs burn themselves out really quickly, and employees as well. They're overwhelmed with tasks or whatever the case might be. So instead of focusing on that task, you might divert your attention, right? I'm sick of this, or I'm burnt out, or I need to move on to the next thing. But have you quite taken a full scope at your tasks to understand where your results are? And maybe you don't have any because you've moved on from all the tasks. So it's important to take breaks and refocus. It's crucial. If you're unable to finish a task, it's okay. Take a break. Pause for a moment. Get outside. Get away from your computer. Go for a walk. Get some water. Stay hydrated. Exercise, right? 10 to 15 minutes is not a deal breaker. Just take a quick break. And don't, get off the computer and now you're on your phone and you're just distracted by more technology. Again, your phone's not your friend, right? Make sure to rest your brain. You need that break. And when you refocus, it takes an average of about 10 minutes. And so don't go over that 15 or 20 minute, don't go to that 15 or 20 minute break. You'll lose your focus and your concentration. So stick within that 10. 5 minutes is just not enough. 10 seems to be that sweet spot, 10 to 15, right in there. Leverage that time. Organize your desk. This is one simple way for time management. Get rid of the litter, the garbage, the things you don't need. Have the right files, the right filing system for the right information. If you're done for the day, make sure you put the files back where you got them from. Things should have a place. In the last, 10 to 15 minutes of your day, take a moment to reorganize everything. Look at your desk and get yourself set and ready for tomorrow. Again, if you feel like, oh, I don't want to do it, or I'm burnt out, or I'm tired for the day, you will regret it the next day. Be thinking of tomorrow today. Think about the results you want, what you want to accomplish, and then create the path. You can manifest what you want. These results you experience next year are based on your actions today and this year. I promise you, everything has a ripple effect. Everything is connected. When you start and you reflect on, and you're in quarter 2 and you reflect on quarter 1, January to March, right? We just had that. We just passed our first quarter of the year. Take a look back at your goals. Did you achieve what you wanted? If not, if you've been stagnant or you're in the same place, what can you do? I would definitely recommend taking action starting today. If you're looking at quarter 1, we just started in quarter 2, you can track your numbers, you can track your progress, you can make a difference. Even if you're falling behind or feeling stuck right now, you can change it. And I'm so excited for you to do it. Take a break. And also break down your tasks to their simplest form, even to a minier form than what I mentioned before. When you've got a lot to do, you know what? Let me just show you my to-do list right now. See how it's sort of broken up a bit? And I've got it laid out all on one page, but I divided them down, or broke them down, if you will, even more. And my list has 16 tasks, and I have a deadline for tomorrow, a deadline of tomorrow for some. And the task cash flow is over $16,000. And that really pushes me to do it and to get it done, right? That dollar amount attached. But it's still a little bit overwhelming. It's a lot to handle. And so what I do now is I'm breaking down these tasks into smaller forms. What are some easy low hanging fruit that I can check off right away? Get a phone call done or an email, then I'll go ahead and do that. Who can I delegate it to? Can my assistant do it? And if not, I would keep it on my list. And that's it. That's really the easiest way to do it. Just make your list more manageable, especially in areas where you can delegate. Maybe you realize, oh, I've got some downtime. What? What do I do with that? Go ahead and get some simple tasks taken care of. Get yourself caught up for the next day. So in the beginning, I talked about our agenda, and I mentioned how you can automate your time management a little bit better. So before, people used to text me and say, Rosemary, what time do you have available? I need to make an appointment with you. Or in my case, Mom, I need to go buy something for school and I have to make time for that. Do you have time today? One of my kids might ask. Or my husband calls me. Rosemary, can you, I don't know, whatever it is, can you drop off the car and get the oil changed, or whatever task we might need to do? And I just feel so incredibly overwhelmed. I don't know, can I do all this? I don't know if I have time. Can I say yes, or do I have to say no to everything? Again, leverage the technology, leverage software programs that we have. It's 2021. We should definitely be using tech. All of these applications I've listed here are free. Asana being the first one. They have an option to subscribe to a higher tier, so you can pay for the tool, but essentially it is free. And it works very well with teams. So if you've got tasks, you can manage your projects. So if you're working together with certain people, you can have an area where you can communicate and have a list of tasks. You can chat together. You can delegate to other team members. And it's all documented. You can document the timelines, the communication, the brainstorming that takes place. It's a great tool. So that one's Asana. Super helpful. And I think it helps people who work in teams or who are building a team. It's very good for those individuals. So we've got Calendly. And to let you know, this changed my life, this app. I know it might sound silly, but it really did. So before someone would ask for an appointment, or if I didn't know, I didn't know my availability, wouldn't know theirs, they would, text me with a few times and I could text you and nothing would match up. And then we'd have to kind of go back and forth and do this process all over again. And honestly, we'd half the time never end up meeting. Who has time for all that? It's not helpful to achieve my goals, spending all this time doing this. And on average, I probably meet with 10 to 12 new people every week. Can you imagine? That's so much. I love it. I love it. I don't want to change that, but I also don't want to overlap individuals and mess up my schedule. I need breaks too, right? I need to take care of myself and I need to eat and use the bathroom and have water and take my dog out and play with my kids, cook for that myself or my family. I'm very health conscious as well. So a lot goes into meal prep. And I'm really not willing to give up my wellness, my well-being for business. That's not something that I'm willing to do. My mental health as well is very important. And, a lot of I might feel like not good enough if I can't be there for my family, or if there's times where I can't be there for my business partners or clients, but that's not necessary. So Calendly is awesome. You can put down all of the different kind of meetings that you have. Perhaps you've got one-on-ones with clients. Perhaps you've got annual reviews or bi-monthly meetings or general department meetings or any team meetings, any kind of meeting you might be involved in. Calendly can handle all of them. You can also have link up with the calendar to have notifications or notifications sent to yourself or to your client, reminders about appointments, to remind individuals when the appointment is and for how long. And, if you are wondering, why do people not show up and what a waste of my time, to have that occur frequently or to not be able to get together with people, I think this is a great solution for you. Can also send text alerts or reminders as well. And that part is a paid feature, but you are able to tier up if you wanted. But the general basic calendar is free. Scheduling software, excuse me. Google Calendar, another free source. Perhaps you're already familiar with it. Google, household name. And today in the Zoom world, the remote world, everyone says, meet in our Zoom room, right? Or what's the Zoom ID? Or here we are. This is just where we are right now. Catch you in the Zoom room. So Google Calendar has a feature that automatically connects or links up your Zoom calendar or account to the calendar. So then everything is just automated, and it would make like a private, you can make a private Zoom meeting ID for your invites, just already automated and ready for you. Or in your Google Calendar, for example, you can have multiple calendars. You can have one for family scheduling, for your personal life, for your business life. color coded and, crucial for you to share your calendars with your spouse, for example, and your family so that they know what your schedule looks like. Communication is key. I mean, that is so huge, to have spousal support and good communication. My husband supported me a lot when I started my business, even though it took a lot of time and I had to focus on that. He recognized the importance, of that and was really supportive. So if my husband calls me and asks me, if I can take the car to get the oil changed, internally, I feel pressure to say yes because I want to be accommodating. He's my spouse. I want to say yes and help, of course, in any way that I can. But he knows that. And he can look at my schedule and say, oh, Rosemary's actually fully booked today and she won't have time to take the car in. But Thursday she could be available. And then perhaps he can make the appointment for that. And he might even already put the appointment in on my calendar for me so that I know that he did that. And so I get the notification. I know that I'll be taking the car in. There's an event added to my calendar. I can see what it is and who added it. And then we're on the same page. We do communicate here and there. We might not have to talk about the fact that he added the event because I'll see it. And it's nice, a nice reflection of him acknowledging I'm busy and when I have free time to do that. And so that's helped a lot, especially in understanding each other better. And the best part about Google Calendar and Calendly is that they can sync up. So that's great. They work well together. And what that means basically is that you'd really never have to worry about double booking. Never. I mean, really never. You have your family schedule and you have your work schedule and everything syncs up and everyone can see what you're doing. You can send a link for when you're available. You'll get a notification when they sign up. You can start a new appointment, create a new event. I mean, everything is really easily flowing in your Google Calendar and automatically will add the Zoom ID. I mean, really, what's better than this? Technology is our best friend sometimes. So sometimes we think once we're done with a task, or we think we're done with a task, especially if we're really busy and you're starting to scale your business and you have more clients coming in, you definitely can lose track of things. Was that task finished? Did I do that? Did I complete that? So it's really important to make sure to revise and review your list, to always make sure that you're staying on top of things and that you're doing well. And then please do make sure to make a note for yourself on anything that you need to remember. Think ahead to next week again. Look ahead to your next week, your appointments, your calendar, see what adjustments might need to be made, and definitely inform your clients of that well ahead of time. If you need to change your appointment time or change a deadline, expectation, or anything like that. And so make sure that you review again for the day ahead and you know what to expect. And your sleep schedule and cycle will thank you. If you're less stressed, then you'll sleep better. And entrepreneurs are always have a hard time sleeping because they're thinking about tomorrow and they're thinking about the future. But it's proven to reduce anxiety and stress if you're able to do this, and it will help you focus on your sleep. I know it's tempting to procrastinate and put off until tomorrow, but never do today what you can put off till tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I really hope that this presentation, you got something from it and it will help you be more active and proactive in your business and help change your trajectory. If you want more information on a business mentor, definitely chat in with Kristen. And the SCORE folks, they're the ones who put together this event. I'd be happy to connect with you on LinkedIn or have a one-on-one if anyone would like to reach me more individually. And if we have any questions at all, I'm here.
Thank you, Rosemary. Yes, we do have one last question, and I think you talked about it a little bit in that last bit, but I'm going to ask it anyway because Susan wants to know. When managing a business with multiple projects, can you suggest a project time management software? And also to avoid the email monster of communicating back and forth with multiple participants, clogging emails.
Definitely download Asana. It is honestly the #1 software for teams and project management. There's another good one as well, and that one's called Monday. But just to let you know, Asana is top voted by consumers. So it's really a great program. And then there's no email. You have a chat function. So you chat right in the software, right in Asana, based on the tasks and based on the project. So various projects will have various chat threads, and you can tag people in the comments, for example, if you want to get their attention, or you can send a notification to get someone's attention, remind people of deadlines, etc. So Asana is a wonderful resource to streamline each project.
Does Asana track time for billing?
I know that you can establish a deadline, and so perhaps in that way, but I wonder if you can create that as like a function maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but definitely play around with it. You can also try HubSpot for consumer relations management, and I do know that they've got something related to billing, so some time management structures for billing.
Okay, are there any other questions? Looks like we're clear. So I want to thank everybody for attending. And you had great information and great tips from Rosemary. So thank you very much for all of this information. I want to thank our interpreters, Rachel and Jenna. You guys always do a fantastic job, and we appreciate you. For those of you who might want a score mentor, please go to greaterrochester.score.org and sign up for Get a Mentor. We can help you identify some of these priorities for you and help you set some goals, give you some of that tough love to move you to productivity. And also, we do have some other upcoming workshops. Check them out and let us know what you think. At the end of this webinar, there will be a survey that will pop up to let us know how we did and how we can improve. And in case you missed it, we'll send you an email with that same survey. So we always appreciate the feedback, and that's how we get better each time. Thanks again for joining us today, everybody.